You know, we live in a world that is pretty much a commodity world. Most insurance brokers can bring you a good piece of paper with good terms and conditions. What value do you bring over and above that? You know, we talk about being interdependent on each other. You know, we're a very independent company, but being interdependent doesn't mean you lose your independence. It just means you're better together. But what makes us wonderful, what makes us so special are our people. You know, I don't care what organization you're a part of. You're only as good as your people. And I will absolutely put our folks line by line up against anyone in our industry because they care, because they're advocates, because they really, really value what our clients value. And they're proud to be a part of a company like IOA because everybody here actually own a piece of IOA. They're here for the long haul, they care, and they know we value them. You know, a lot of things that we do in our business are transactional, of course, like any business. But we want our clients, we strive for our clients to have a transformational experience in the middle of their transactions. You know, what gets me up every day? It's about building something. It's about being different. You know, we're not like everyone else in our industry. We live in an industry in a world of sameness. And our goal, and what gets me fired up every morning, is to wake up and build something that looks nothing like our entire industry.
Okay, we have a green light at the start, so we'll be underway here with the 1-star in just a few moments' time. May even have a horse in the start box. Well, this is the Terra Nova International Horse Trials. The inaugural 4-star has just completed with Lucienne Bellissimo holding on to, maintaining her lead with Tremanton 34.7, but only by 0.2 of a penalty over Jenny Carras and Trendy Fernhill. The first to go will be the leader. It is Duke's Jury and Lucienne Bellissimo, owned by the Horse Scout Limited Company, 28.6. Jonathan Holling, Gold to Blue, second, 30.4. Devon Tresson, Zavallo in third. Alyssa Phillips with Carrick Sean, HFS in fourth. Lucienne Bellissimo, also fifth, Hermione. And then Joe Meyer, Kelsey Seidel, Finley Habernecht, Gabrielle Hutchinson and Ava Davis 10th. 20 combinations coming forwards for the CCI 1-star long, and sitting alongside me as she was earlier, and very grateful to that. Lynn Szymanski's back. Lynn, you had a brilliant ride and safely home.
Yes, I did. I enjoyed my time out there. The ground felt great. The tracks, you know, they rode very well. Yeah, I'm excited to wrap up the end of the day. We started the beginning of the day here, and this lady is sitting in a good spot going into tomorrow.
She is. She's lying in first place in the 4-star. She leads with this horse in the 1-star, and as she jumps the second, the optimum time for the 1-star is 5 minutes and 26 seconds, distance of 2,715 metres. And as she jumps the second, she goes to the cabin at 3, the ditch and brush at 4. So big jump at the cabin. And then the ditch and brush. We get to see it from the takeoff side this time. And as Lucienne turns off this left turn, she sits, rides and drives. And a green jump.
Yeah, but you could tell she knew her horse well and felt that coming. And you can see they actually put brush on the ground line there, which not all the divisions had earlier. And you'll notice, and Lucienne, this is a very different style that she's riding this horse. You know, it's a bit greener. She's a little more of a defensive position, her upper body. You see how greeny is even just at the lip of the water here. And, you know, these horses are rather unseasoned that we're going to see for the most part in this division, especially the ones that the professionals are on. And so it's a great opportunity to get these horses and probably more atmosphere than they've ever competed in before.
Yeah, for sure. As Lucienne Bellissimo for Great Britain, Duke's Jury, they now come down towards a bit of a let-up fence. This is a 6-year-old, so as Lynn was saying, very, very much we're seeing the greener end of the eventing. And it's great, I think. We started with the 2, we went to the 3, then the 4. But to see all these fences, we saw the angle brushes in the previous classes, and now we see them at a lower level, on not so much of an angle, but this is the stepping stone.
Yeah, it's great to see, in the course designer with that in mind, it's a progression, and that's what it's supposed to be. Each level up, and this is a newer level we have in the last few years, and I think it's a great level for these horses to that aren't quite ready for the size and the speed and scope of the preliminary level yet, but still training is a bit of a bore. It's really nice to get these horses out and get them started at the FEI level, or for riders that are just stepping up into the ranks as well.
Definitely, and we saw there the rail, ditch and corner. We've seen the rail, ditch and corner in the 3 and the 4 star. That is a smaller version, and the corner closed in to give these horses the confidence, to give them some experience that they're going to feel happy, bold, and take that away. Well, that is our new starter, latest starter out on course. Just jumping looks like it was just jumping the ditch wall. That is Jonathan Holling and Gold to Blue. Monteverdi, owned by Robin Harter from Florida. Another 6-year-old 16-3 Dutch Warmbloods. As coming to the water is Jonathan Holling.
And you see this one a little less peaky, and you'll notice this time of day, too, for some of the greener, spookier horses is a little hard. The lighting starts to get a little trickier as the sun goes down. But I think these riders are targeting this competition, especially to get these horses out in this type of atmosphere and have the big feel of a course for producing them for the future.
Well, Duke's Jury coming now towards home with Lucien Bellissimo. Beautiful bay horse, really glistening by Duke of Heart. Conair on the Dam Sire side, running through the water and out over that arrowhead. I mean, he's got the fences eyed up, he can see what he's doing, and this another smaller version of what we jumped earlier.
Yeah, and you actually see this horse just getting better and better and more confidence as he goes around, and that's what you like to see. She had to ride pretty strong in the beginning to get him out in front of her leg, and then they just keep coming into themselves as they go on, and they come back a much more seasoned horse.
Gold to Blue, Monteverdi, and Jonathan Holling with the 6-year-old owned by Robin Harter coming to a single fence. Again, with these horses, with these courses, you jump a combination fence, you have a let-up fence, you try and get the confidence levels building and building as you go around, and it's very clever course design.
Yeah, it is, and I think you'll see some mini versions of what we saw earlier. You'll see a few less combinations, because mentally for these horses, it's a lot. The more combinations you have on course, it's not just physically fatiguing. It's not just that you have to get these horses physically fit. They have to mentally build up the stamina to be able to concentrate, combination after combination as the distances get longer on course.
Well, latest starter, that is away from the start. Looks like Samantha Leeson, As You Wish, an 11-year-old. And that confirmed from South Carolina, this Irish-bred thoroughbred, safely through the first of the waters as they go on. So that big water comes at 6. First combination fence as well for these guys.
I think that's pretty early in the going to have especially when it's a jump into water that early. So you really get a feel for what you have to come and how much work you have to do, or if you can just kind of sit back and let the horse start trying to find the flags for you. And, it depends on where your horse is in its season, but a lot of times once you...
she's lost. I think she's lost.
Oh, no. It's very easy to do. I am not judging her in the slightest.
Yeah.
I had to go over this track so many times in my head about which way you turn, and it just takes 1 or 2 walks around to even have a feel of where all the jumps are.
And you've got to remember which number you've just jumped and which number you're going to.
Yeah.
Counting. Pretty difficult. But hopefully she's now picked up her correct course, her correct track, and she wasn't a million miles away from that double of offset brushes. Interesting what you say, and I've said it many times. You have a green 6-year-old, you have a very mature 6-year-old. It just depends, and you have to work with what's underneath you. Mm-hmm. Some of these, you saw the difference in Lucien's 6-year-old and then John Holling's 6-year-old. I mean, they were just totally different.
Yeah. They're like humans,
Yeah.
Some are right brain, some are left brain, some take a little longer to mature, some are kind of an old soul. So, I think you have to feel out what your horse kind of needs going into the track. Some of these horses may need you to come out and really get moving and then settle down. The other ones need a little bit until you get into the course. So you'll see the more experienced, seasoned riders play around with the type of ride they're giving the horse and not just get out there and let's see what happens.
Yeah, and you have your introverts and your extroverts as you do with people. And, as Lynn was just saying then, you get some horses that want you to get out there and ride them, and there are others that just don't want that at all. They want to be eased into, but then as they get older, they get more confident. But it's then a waiting game. It's then a playing game. You've got to really take your time. And if you haven't got the time, then my answer and suggestion is don't do it, because the horses need time. And if you're going to have a good horse, then you've got to be able to give them all the time they need.
Yeah, 100%. You have to be able to listen to them. And I think we see her. She's putting her foot down now. She spent a little bit of extra time taking a tour, making sure she got back on track. But it seems like she has saved herself from a technical elimination.
I used an expression, actually, with Lucinda Green recently, and she went, "Oh, that's a very good one." And I was like, I'm impressed. And it's always, you've always got to think it's their want, not your need.
Oh, no. And unfortunately, just got a little tipped forward out of the tack there. And that can happen sometimes. So you're going to have to repeat that for me again. I was so distracted. That was terrible timing on the delivery of that.
I know. Well, that was a very sad end. They may have been just going for the time, but sad to see that Samantha Lease and As You Wish parting company. That looks like now Libby Head and Philly Gumbo coming to the ditch and brush. So the expression is, you always must remember it's their want, not your need.
100%.
And really, living by that. And I'm a great fan of that. And, it's a great way to think and train the horses. Also, as you're going cross country, always remember that it's revs per minute, not miles per hour. And, when you're changing gear, you want to keep the revs per minute. It's not about going fast.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And that can change and that can evolve through a season. That can evolve
comes.
Even 100%. Yeah. It takes a while. And, you want to be educating them and schooling them here. So when they get to that height in their career, when it counts, when you're on, a team competition, that you can really let it out. But gets a little tight in there, and so that's where we're playing around with talking about where the speed has to be. So maybe you'd see Gabrielle just maybe tone it down a bit for the next and train her horse and make sure that maybe he is listening to her.
Yeah, and it's at these levels that, and you quite often you don't find it when you're cross-country schooling. It's only when you do a competition that you find out actually the raw bones of what you're sat on, because horses do react. And you can see him here just going a little bit green on her at times, but he's always thinking forwards. But getting into a competition atmosphere and finding out, taking your time. She is trying to be steady.
Yep, you can see her there.
Some horses, you get on them and they're like, got it, I've got it. And then at the last one they go, oh, I don't get it. I don't got it at all. I need you. Oh, do you? You need me now, do you?
And that is the sign of a really experienced horseman is feeling that out on when to let the horse feel like, all right, I'm Superman. And then like, okay, no, you don't know everything. I have to know what you know. So that's the advantage of sitting on lots of different types of horses and just adding that feel to your long-term education and being able to educate the other ones coming up.
Definitely.
Looks like our cameraman is seeing if it's 5 o'clock yet.
5 o'clock somewhere. 5 o'clock somewhere. Well, just coming through the finish flags and jumping the last, that was Libby Head and Philly Gumbo. Another young horse in 6 years old, owned by Winston Neal from Greenville, Georgia. And a good round for them.
Yeah.
Just waiting for some times to come in the 1 star. As away from the start, looks like Chris Talley, another ride for Chris. He rode earlier on with MBF Firebrand.
And Chris is always a pleasure to watch. I mean, a very good jockey in all three phases, but he sits super well on the horse, and what I really like about him is his quiet nature, and you don't really see him doing a ton all the time. You sometimes do, maybe with a younger, greener horse, educating him. It's exciting to see him having a really good string of up-and-coming young horses. You always see him bringing these horses out, and all of a sudden you thought they were going beginner novice, and now they're out at the 3-star level.
Yeah, it happens so fast.
Yeah.
Doesn't it?
They grew up right before our eyes.
Yeah.
This is a smaller model than you usually see him on, though. Chris is quite a tall, lanky rider, and so you see, like, in his gallop position that he's having to fold quite far over because there's not a lot up in front of him.
Yeah, and that's never always the best feeling when there's not a lot in front of the saddle, because it can disappear very quickly as well.
Yeah, and you learn to alter your position depending on the conformation of the horse as well.
As new on course, this is Caitlin Smith and Lisbon Spartacus, and they join us from Marietta, Georgia, an 11-year-old 16-2 Irish sport horse, and they join us on the cross country. Just trying to get their dressage. Lisbon Spartacus with a dressage 36.1.
You saw him. So obviously this horse may have a little experience. I'm just assuming maybe by his age, but he's still, he's quite clever. He needs a second to read the jump, and he looks careful, but then as long as he has enough time to study it, then he's good. So sometimes with horses like that, you feel like you need to chase them more, but actually sometimes you have to just sit there and support and give them a second to read it.
Yeah. Coming on to the house, and then it is the double of offset brushes. A couple of strides in between. We hope it's a couple of strides.
Oh, see, that was nicely done, yeah. And the way to make that distance work is either you have to know your horse's step and know that you're going to have to tone it down quite a bit, or you need to make that distance lengthwise a little bit longer, which is then risking a run out because you're putting more severe angle on that question. Looks like she has her horse painted on its hind end.
Yeah, I was just about to say, it looks like there's some stars on
artistic
the
impression there.
quarters. So loving their time out on the cross country, love watching these horses, their expressions, and so many of, we get onto social media, let's not go there, but everybody, horses don't do it. Well,
yeah,
they love it. I mean,
you can't make this up.
Ears pricked, loving their job out there, and Caitlin Smith having a great spin around Terra Nova. The inaugural 4-star, can't believe it, the cross country's already done.
I know.
Saturday always goes so fast.
You keep waiting and waiting and waiting, and just time flies when you're having fun out here. Looks like someone's looking for a shoe out there.
So just coming through the trees and onto the double brush.
Oh, now this horse looks, he's like, I got it, all right. He started out just a little peaky in the beginning of this round and had a few kind of extra add-ins, a little closer distances, and she's done a great job with this horse, just giving him a really good round, and now it looks like he's just could finish up from here, and he has some clever footwork there when he needs to take an extra little peek.
And under the trees there, that Tricano, I mean, it's a big enough ditch. It's got water in after the rain we've had, and we know that this area, the backfields certainly have been built up nearly 2 foot of topsoil because it was a marsh.
Yeah, it is amazing what they've done.
And I mean, could you ever see this as big a marsh? But a lot of this land here was marshland, scrubland, and it's just phenomenal. I mean, it really is what they've done. But it's purpose-built. It is also available. There are lots of 5 to 20 acres to buy, and I think even to rent through a spell here in Florida through the winters.
Yeah, and I've had the pleasure of seeing a lot of those parcels of property as I have biked all around here.
But you've been out at Timbuktu, haven't you?
I have.
And I hear that poor old boy was going mental. There were alpacas. And
we did, yes. We had some alpaca friends right next to us for a few days. You never know what you're going to see in Florida.
You've had everything thrown at you, haven't you? Drive 18 hours to stable on your own.
It's been a different adventure than I envisioned when we headed down here.
Well, as Chris Talley comes towards home, we have Mary Cook Catlett on course, and as she comes through this combination, that is in fact Annie Pearl Stroud and Froggatt. This is an 8-year-old 17-2 thoroughbred going towards the Trakehner. And the first couple of scores are now in. Lucien Bellissimo holds on to her overnight lead in the 1 star. She'll lead the 1 and the 4 on 28.6. No jumping, no time. John Holling, gold to blue Monteverde. No jumping, no time. He completes 30.4. And Gabrielle Hutchinson, unusual gator. 4.4 time penalties into 3rd. And Libby Head, Philly Gumbo. No jumping, no time. They finish on 39.7 from 20th into 4th at the moment.
Now, while you were reading these scores, I have to say I've really enjoyed watching Annie Pearl Stroud on this horse. You know, I love this division because you get all different types of riders, all different types of horses, and it's pretty cool for some of these guys to compete against, you know, who's winning the 4-star tomorrow and be trying to rival them.
We're just jumping through the double of brushes, Miranda Lucy and Uncas Boy. 10-year-old 16-2 Czech Warmbloods, French thoroughbred in the breeding as well, owned by Miranda. She is going now to, she's jumped the double of angle brushes, so just jumping that rail to the ditch to the filled-in corner. Got quite an opinion on him.
I don't think he thinks he needs his jockey today.
So as they set up from the rail, ditch and corner, they jump the pheasant feeder. Now a double brush to left-handed corner at 12A and 12B. Don't quite see that. And then it's back to the Trakehner and the brush and the water. Just going through the water for the first time. That's at 6A and 6B. Looks like it could be Hillary Irwin and Hillbilly Chill. Ooh. Now what's she done?
Did we go to the wrong side?
Yeah, I think she went the right side, just went to the wrong fence. So Hillary Irwin jumps the correct fence and now goes on to the double of brushes. This is a 7-year-old Irish sport horse, Grey Gelding, owned by Hillary.
Well, I'm going to blame it on baby on the brain because Hillary is a new mom. Nice to see her out here, but it you know, you have a few extra things to do in your weekend when you are used to just focusing on the horses and in your team to then be a mother of a newborn as well.
Ooh!
Oh, no! Oh, what a bummer.
I was just going to say how green he went over the ditch because he just went so high with his front legs and then just didn't really read the corner at all.
No, he never really picked up on it, and he kind of saw it at the last second. You could see him try and figure out if he was going to, you know, get some clever footwork, and then he tried to stop, and with that momentum, he just threw her right out the front door.
Yeah.
Oh, what a bummer.
So this is now Alyssa Phillips with Carrickshaw HFS. Good dressage for these two, lying in 4th on 31.6. Just coming to that first water. Ooh. It is funny when they jump up out of your hands like that, isn't it?
And then she kind of thought that was going to happen, and the two of them had a little bit of a difference of opinion on where the takeoff spot is, but you know, Alyssa's a great rider. She has a lot of nice horses coming up. She was just recently our reserve in Lima, or sorry, not in Lima, in Chile.
In Chile.
And yeah, and a great attitude, and she does an amazing job with these horses.
Quite short in there on that forward canter, isn't it?
You know, and I think I would never want to be. I do. Course design fascinates me, but it's also a huge task. I would be 100 times more nervous having my track ridden for the first time than I would going out on a 5-star because it all relies on you. You know, and you don't always get it right. You know, you may set something like that up just in a different part of the field. It may ride completely different to where it is.
Well, you've got a couple of horses now, a couple of nice horses, Bounce that you've ridden, and you've got another one as well, which is on holiday at the moment. You're getting qualifications with Bounce here, but you've ridden 5-star. You know what it takes to have a horse at that level. Do you think we've got two nice horses to go back? Because I know you were 6th at Kentucky, you were 6th at Burley as well. Do you think you've got two nice horses to get back there?
So you know, and it's hard because what you used to feel was going to be to the top of the sport is sometimes a little bit different than it is now. So that evolves a little, but what I will say is there's something about the feel of a 5-star horse underneath you that you know, you just have a gut feeling, and from the beginning, you know, I mean, they have to be very, very good on the final day. Now, that's a little different than what you were looking for, you know, 15 years ago, but those two, I think, are very special horses. And you know, the one I had today was not at his top for sure, but still has such heart and dug deep for a horse to want to go out there and ears pricked the whole time and enjoying their job, like you say. You can't make these horses do it if they don't want to.
Oh, well, fingers crossed, because it's been a couple of years, and it's great to see you back at the 3-4-star level now. So let's hope it all goes, because we know what it's like. You know, 1 minute
you
you're
can be
up
on
there.
top of the world, and then you've got a few things go wrong, and then you have nothing again.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, we understand we saw Miranda have no, we didn't. She had a refusal at fence 6. And also Hillary Irwin, Hillbilly Chill. We saw her have her fall. Good to hear that he's been caught. She was up on her feet. She landed quite heavily on her back, but she was up pretty quickly after that fall. So that is good to hear as well.
And Alyssa having a great round here coming towards the end of the track.
Yeah, and we pick up another grey. This is Ava Davis and Cudi Caviar, just jumping themselves through the first water.
You can see it, the sun, the fact that you have a jump in the water this early in the track and then going into the sun, the horses are a bit peaky there.
Well, running up towards from the water at 6 goes to the brown cabin at 7, and then the double of angle brushes at 8A and 8B. 20 numbered fences with an optimum of 5 minutes and 26 seconds. We've seen already quite a few inside that time, and Lucien Bellissimo will hold on to her lead. So coming home with just 2 fences left to jump. In fact, 1. That was their last.
And that horse just got better and better as it went on.
This Phillips and Carrick-Shawn
are not done.
HFC.
They keep going.
Yeah. That's a nice feeling. Ava Davis and Cudi Caviar, of the Cooley prefix. Richard Sheen and his team. And as they disappear from that pheasant feeder, they go to the double Russian corner. Might just see that actually this time, the double Russian corner. Myriad of fences. And here they come. So there's the double brush, somebody nearly getting run over. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Gets the 5 strides to the left-handed corner. And quickly on and away. Cute little expression on this little grey's face.
And as we said, there's all different types, all different gallops, and you know, it always interests me in the different galloping style of some of these horses. You have some of them are built so uphill and cover the ground so well, and this one you see just gets a little bit lower in his gallop, but she actually lets the horse travel how he prefers, which a lot of these horses actually, you know, you're going to be so much easier on your body in the end if you travel how it feels natural for you.
Yeah. Oh, little reminder.
That was pretty slick. It looked like she was like swapping the stick and having a little conversation at the same time. And she knew that was needed because it looks like he is just a little peaky with the water on the backside there.
And it's a big enough question,
Yeah,
that
for
log
sure.
into the water as well. Yes, they've got their feet wet once, but it's still a big enough question.
And a very different question,
Yeah.
too. You know, they've run quite a bit, so they're a little more tired or in the middle of the track. And then there's so much to look at once you get to this main area with all the sponsors, all the kids' corner, all the vendors. And there's so many people around here with the show jumping, so it distracts the horses for a bit.
Well, there is Amanda Merritt and Apparition from Brennan, Texas, a 8-year-old 17-2 thoroughbred dapple grey gelding.
This division is chocked full of thoroughbreds, I have to say.
It
Near and dear to my heart.
is, as they continue. Apparition with the dressage, 36.7 coming to the ditch and brush. Again, a smaller version of what we've seen. We don't get to see quite the extent of the ditch on the takeoff side from our camera angle, but it's a bit of a rider frightener, not quite Cottesmore Leap at Burley, but it's still a big enough ditch.
Yeah, and I think that's important to start these horses and riders at this level, so you get the practice riding them when they aren't, so there's more of a margin for error to learn how to ride those, so you don't encounter them when you're doing your first 3-star.
No, and we've said that all along. If you've got a horse that you think is Burley backed, how often do you see a fence like the Cottesmore Leap, which is the biggest fence in the world dimensionally? That yawning great big ditch, the big brush behind. You don't see that very many times on a cross-country course.
Yeah.
If you do, you jump it once. You need to go and find these things schooling. And do you want to be jumping those things in cold blood? Not really. Bad enough.
I sure don't.
Bad enough when the blood's up.
But it is true, in each of these horses, you may see some that are, a little cheeky with a left-handed corner,
Yeah.
and some that are a little funny into water, so you know what your horse's weakness is, and it's something that you go home and you train, and you train, and you train, until that horse finds confidence in you, so then when you actually end up going to Burley one day, it's not a surprise for them.
Yeah, very, very true. So as they disappeared through the trees, there's a lot more trees than I remember when I was walking around, but there are a lot.
In the Spanish moss.
In the Spanish moss,
everywhere.
It looks very spooky. And there's all these dead trees around as well. It looks quite spooktacular walking around the course. So Amanda Merritt and Apparition, as they go to, I thought that was a small child. It's not, it's Joe
It's
Meyer.
Joe. It's just Joe.
Sorry, Joe. Sorry, Ruthie. It's just the way that this little horse was fighting it. How dare you fight the great Joe?
And he loses the rein.
So Joe Meyer.
So some children struggle with that.
Yes, they do. They do. Joe with MBF Flintstone, 33.9 dressage, good dressage, lying in 6th place after that first phase. This is a 7-year-old grey, owned by long-time supporter, long-time owner Teresa Foote. At the double.
You talk about when you have a potential 5-star horse. This is what I mean by the heart and the desire when they're that young, that sometimes you go, oh man, I got one that I think could be pretty special. Makes it a little hard when the jumps are small sometimes.
Yeah, I'm sat on a psycho. But actually you do get quite polite horses at the 5-star as well. But there again, Joe he's got his work cut out. 'Cause although this horse thinks he knows the job, Joe is constantly saying, just listen.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just will you listen?
Joe has a few more miles under his belt than this horse, and so that's where you can...
The horse doesn't agree. Flintstone does not agree.
Yeah, I haven't seen this part of the track that much today.
No, we haven't.
It's really hard. It's amazing, actually, how much they are able to capture of this entire property.
Yeah. As Joe Meyer then for New Zealand. Of course, Joe, who's ridden at the very highest level, World Championships and Olympics with the great Snip. And coming still pretty opinionated, this grey.
I mean, you see him leveraging his whole entire position to get the horse to listen to him from far back before the horse is even able to see where it's going.
Yeah. And you can't knock this horse for confidence. And he wants to go. You know, he wants to get on with the job and jump those fences, wants to eat them up. I would say look out for this horse next year, MBF Flintstone. And if he doesn't have to sell this horse, because that is part and parcel of, unfortunately, the game is that you get these good horses and then they have to go because they've got to fund the next crew. What water?
Well, I'm enjoying this round.
Yeah.
I think Flintstone is too. I don't know if Joe's going to feel like that. He's working extra hard out there.
Yeah.
But, yeah, what a cool horse.
I mean, never in doubt, really, is he? I mean, he's just, yep.
No, he's sure he
Really
knows
cool.
exactly what's happening.
Yeah. Pretty cool out there.
And that's a hard thing because you want to train these horses and educate them, but sometimes there are some horses that just need a bigger fence to be able to create a little shape and make them work a little harder out there.
Yeah. Well, that looks like Jerry Barnett. Jerry with Fernhill 30. Just coming to the pheasant feeder, jumps the pheasant feeder, 8-year-old 16-3 Irish sport horse owned by Jerry from Lexington, Kentucky. And they start on a dressage score of 38.2. Well, beautiful scenes and shots from our high-rise camera as we go back up course. And this should be now, is it Devon? Yeah. Coming to the early part of the course. Zavallo, the horse that she rides at the water, the first water. And again, the horses have to concentrate coming through, jump a fence in the water, and then pick up this very narrow fence coming out. And it's just a smaller version of something later on, but this is what this level is designed to do. And Devon, very good rider. She's from Ball Ground in Georgia.
And she made pretty boring work of that, to be honest, from some of the other rides we've seen there. That's a compliment, Devon. And you see this horse has a huge step. Oh, wow, she gets lucky there. Yeah, she tried to get him back and he saw he was going, but such a massive step. You really, really have to be able to compress that energy in there because, and that just, he loses his confidence because he really had to work hard to get them out of trouble there.
It's a knock-on effect, unfortunately, isn't it? And you lose confidence like that, and it can, some horses just don't, it doesn't even bother.
Yeah.
A little bit like humans as well. But there he just really got his knickers in a bit of a twist. So coming back for a second attempt. And it's a simple fence, but you know, he'd lost his confidence. It's now her job to install that back in. As we said earlier, Ginny that's taught me for years and years and years, Elliot Holgate Lane it was, always said put a few pounds in your pocket over the first few fences, and then you might need to give them a few dollars on the way round, and that's what it's all about understanding. And Devon saying, why did that happen? What did I do? What could I have done? You know, and then going on to the next one, because it is a massive learning curve, and everybody says, you know, it's character building. Just how much character does one person need in their life?
Well, and it is putting money in the bank. And you know what? That ride on a different horse that has a slightly different step may have been just fine there. So it's just learning where you have to really know your horse. And, you know, the only way you learn is after you actually get the experience. So hopefully that was, you know, a good learning experience for her.
And none a truer word spoken. What you just said then, because another horse could have just gone.
Totally. Yep.
I'm fine.
That's why riding is hard.
Yeah. Yeah. We're selling it well, aren't we?
It is a beautiful type of horse, like a big, rangy gallop. And, if you just have one fence within one of your minute markers, this one's easier to make time on. But when you add up the cumulative effect of how much you have to slow a horse down like that to some of the combinations to make sure they read it, to make sure you can compress that step enough and that they're listening, it takes a lot of time.
It does. And you can see that this horse, as you rightly say, he's got an enormous stride, and actually trying to condense that. You don't want to take away the canter, and at the moment the balance is a fine line in that balance between slowing the canter down and making it backwards. And he's got to keep thinking forward himself. See there, if you think he stopped at an oxer,
right?
And he's just jumped really boldly into the water. She's not bustled him. She's allowed now the time to get that confidence back in him. He's running home now with confidence.
Yeah, and you saw even in the beginning of this track taking a little extra time, like flexing him to the outside, having a little training and conversation there, and it's hard. You have to spend the time doing that because you can't just ride everything, right out of stride. And on some horses you can. So it's just knowing what you're sitting on, and maybe next time she can get away with it.
Well, here's Diamant de Jadot, YSH, and Cci1 from South Lake, Texas, and this is a 9-year-old 16-3 Self-Français Bay mare coming up to, well, they've just jumped through the first water. They're now coming to this single hut and then the double of brushes.
And you guys out there watching have no idea how lucky we are to have Spencer here in the commentary booth, able to pronounce these horses' names so well. And you saw her go through the double of brushes, and this is a shorter strided horse with, much easier to compress, much shorter step, and it was tight for her too. So you hope that, these guys out here watching the live stream are getting word back in the warm-up know that really they got to slow down way more than they probably planned on.
Yeah. Well, we can hear the guitars tuning up for the party this evening down below us.
They take their entertainment very seriously here at Terra Nova.
Did you partake in the dinosaur racing last night?
I finished walking my track because I wasn't able to spend a lot of time walking it earlier in the week. I missed the dinosaur race. It looked incredible.
Conveniently. Conveniently.
Just happened to not be here.
Yeah, I heard it was. I actually had gone back to the hotel pretty early, and it was an absolute ball, and £2,500 went to charity. So we're just going to try and shut the windows because we do have the band. Hang on. Don't you be trying. There's a hook. Don't you be trying to jump out the window. I can't afford to lose you. Hang on.
Okay, well, Spencer has just saved my life here, trying to close this huge window. I'll get you back to Cci1. Looks like she's about 3/4 of the way around the track here, and a lot of the horses are looking quite strong when they get to this part of the course. Which is a little bit surprising because in the beginning you get them to open up, but then you go through the woods and it usually makes you have to slow down, tone it down a bit, but a lot of that is the horses jumping back out of the trees through that chicaner, and a lot of them are able to sense where the barns are. So it gives them a second wind, and they pick right back up. And I think that's a very clever combination. It really does set you up for what you're going to see and need to prepare for going into that 2-star. And then this last little bit of track is just a few gallop fences on the way home, and you're passing everybody that's just wrapped up their day and back in the barns taking care of their horses, getting ready for the jog in the FEI divisions on Sunday morning. And it looks like we have Lucien back on course again.
Yeah, I think she's last to go. Just as we pick up Kelsey Seidel and Diamante Jadot YSH, they picked up 20 penalties at 12B, which is the corner, the double brush to corner. Here's the hook. You were about to jump out. I'm so glad you didn't.
Well, I wasn't going to jump out. I was going to hold on to one side and maybe pull one of the arms.
So Lucien Bellissimo is our last out on course. That is sadly walking home Kelsey Seidel. Well, she may have finished.
She finished.
Yeah, Diamante Jadot YSH. She had the 20 penalties at 12B. That was it, though, on the course. So she did complete with the 20 jumping penalties. Picked up 10.4 time penalties as well, completes on 64.8. So Lucien Bellissimo and Hermione is our last out on course. This is a mare, 6-year-old, steel grey, Holsteiner cross, owned by Horse Scout Eventing LLC. We'll just see her. I don't think she's coming round to the last. I don't think she's that far round, is she?
No, I think she was just in that middle field. I say field, under the trees, going towards that second water.
Okay, so now we've shut the window, he stops.
Oh, here we go.
She is coming to the last. So she's been much quicker, much faster than we thought as she crosses through the line. So another good round. She was lying in 5th place with this lovely...
Ooh, she must get spooked off through the finish line there.
Still grey mare. She's had some really good rides today, Lucien. She leads the 4-star. She leads the 1-star on Duke's Jury, 28.6. Jonathan Hollings second. Gold to Blue Monteverdi in second on 30.4. Lisa Phillips, Carrick Shawn, HFS in third, 31.6. Joe Meyer moves up into 4th with MBF Flintstone. The Keen Little Bean, the grey, goes into 4th, but just going into 4th is Lucien Bellissimo, up 1 place with a clear inside the time. She's now 4th, 32.9. Joe Meyer now 5th and equals 6th on 35.1. But I have a feeling that might be changing because the optimum time, 5:26, means that actually Ava Davis is in 6th and Chris Talley is in 7th. That being Ava closer to the optimum time of 5:26 and Chris 1 second faster, means he moved down into 7th. 8th is Caitlin Smith and Lisbon Spartacus. 9th, Finley Habenecht and Zik Zak. And in 10th, Amanda Merritt and Apparition. They are your top 10. Well, that's it. 1-star over. Open Intermediate is up next. There will be a break of about 20 minutes. First horse was due out at 3:50. There'll be about a 5 or 10 minute break, so don't go too far away, and we will be back. The Olympic gold medalist from Athens, Leslie Law, is out first. He is out with 3 horses. There may be a delay because he's the last 2 to go as well.
He's going to be doing some twilight riding out there.
So we're on a short break and we'll be back very shortly.
anymore.
Really?
It's unbalanced again.
I mean, that's okay. Well, I thought these were given
You want me to fly the drone? Oh, I see. Oh, good thinking. Nice.
Okay, now let's go. We are green light to go now, 4:10. Let's get underway now. And, time is 6:12. 6:12. 26 inches on the course. Distance just out of 2 miles, 34:10.
So we're now on a green light down at the start. There is our first to go, waiting down in the wings. And it will be Leslie Law. Leslie with Countess Cooley, our first to go, owned by Craig McCallum from Rockwall, Texas. And Leslie from Ocala in Florida.
Yeah, and I think Leslie is taking advantage of finally having enough time to be able to ride at a competition himself. He's a very busy man for a lot of up-and-coming riders. He's very involved in the U25 program, and he's, you know, he runs an entire business himself along with his wife Leslie as well. So you see him now as a busy man with 3 horses in this first division here, because he doesn't have a lot of time to create the same sort of schedule that the rest of us do.
Well, as he sets off with Countess Cooley. Countess Cooley is an 8-year-old mare, Irish sport horse, and this mare is